Episode 221 of the TV Dudes podcast, recorded January 30th, 2019. X's and O's.
X's and O's.
Yeah, this is my ex-girlfriend, my ex-wife or whatever, and yeah.
I thought it was like hugs and kisses.
Also, hugs and it works on levels, on multiple levels being two.
I thought it was like X's like strikes and O's like one of the kids like half binary code.
Oh shit! It could be like strikes. Like there's a bowling theme.
Yeah, there's a bowling theme.
Yeah,
X's and O's like tic tac no nos.
there we go.
Yeah.
So, folks, we're talking about a bunch of comedy shows this week. We're talking about Crashing and High Maintenance over on HBO, which I think they they both on their third season.
I believe they're both on the third season. Yeah.
Actually, is Crashing? Oh yeah, it is
season three.
now.
It's season 3.
Yeah. And then we're going to be talking about the series finale of Unbreakable, Kimmy, Schmidt over on Netflix, as well as the season 3 finale of The Good Place. And I'm still not over that being gone. I'm going to get angry when we go to start talking about that one. But we have a bunch of comedy shows, so we're going to dive right into that in just a moment. First off, I want to say we are the TV Dudes. I'm Grant.
I'm Randy.
And I'm Kyle.
And we're excited to be here.
Yeah.
we're excited to talk about this comedy episode. But let's just jump right in, folks. Crashing.
So let's do spoiler warning for season 3 of Crashing, season 3 of High Maintenance.
Kimmy Schmidt.
All of season 3 of Good Place, which we may talk about, and for all of Kimmy Schmidt.
You've been warned.
Crashing over on HBO. We're back with Pete Holmes.
Yep.
And the first 2 episodes are out of that as of this recording. And we have the guy, the sad sack, goody two shoes comedian who continues to be. This kind of seems to be like Breaking Bad a little bit. If it was
Comedy instead of meth,
a really good, really like too good and earnest, nice guy. He's like Kenneth from 30 Rock. If Kenneth from 30 Rock suddenly started moving a little bit more into the underbelly of comedy, starting to drink more, do drugs, and just have casual sex here and there, and have resentment of other people.
Yeah. I think the show's getting better as it goes along.
Yeah.
Like, I've always liked it, but I remember I think I watched episode 1 and I was like, nah, not for me. And then I went back to it and enjoyed it. And then I really liked season 2. And season 3 would come off. He had this rough relationship breakup last season, and he did the comedy tour, like a college comedy tour, and it seemed like he was sort of moving into a new level of comedy a little bit. And so we come back, and he's finishing up his college tour, and he's got this kid, Jabuki. That's his actual name.
Right.
And he meets up with this kid and decides to take him under his wing, and then the kid quickly surpasses him, and that feels like a very Pete Holmes story.
And the guy's great.
Yeah, he's really funny.
I was just really impressed with the comedian right off the bat. And so I think casting-wise, they obviously were able to pull in a fantastic comic who would be able to eclipse the character of Pete Holmes that he's playing on the show.
One of the things I like is that they don't ever make Pete not funny. Like, whenever Pete goes up and does a bit, unless it's like a thing where he's supposed to crash and burn.
Yeah.
Like, he's always funny. He always kills it. Like, when he does his Comedy Cellar bit, he's legitimately funny.
He's funny, but you could see, he's funny, right?
Yeah.
And the other guy was like, no, that's really funny.
Yeah.
That one is LOL, and the other one is I'm thinking about LOLing.
I'm glad I watched episode 2, though, because I think episode 2, where they introduced the new girlfriend, Kat, or maybe I really liked that. That was such a good little sweet mini romance movie. I really liked it.
I have such mixed opinions about that one.
Really?
Because that second episode is just the manic pixie dream girl fantasy thing going on that is just kind of absurd to me a little bit.
Oh, but I think there's an undercurrent there already. I think
There
I
is.
think that it's going to go badly for him.
It's going to go badly for him. There's something weird going on with her that she's a little bit too clingy, obsessive, and
Yeah.
like she seems like a bit of an addict.
Yeah.
That he kind of tapped into here and tapped. But I don't know. It also just feels too convenient. It feels weird that his character is just able to kind of flow into these relationships, and like that's like one of these aspects that just feels not as realistic. It
It's
feels,
interesting. I guess I'm not really looking for realism from it because realistically, Pete Holmes, he's already made it. He had a talk show and everything else.
right.
And the notion of somebody working at this, like, I don't need to see a darker show where he really just like keeps struggling. I like the idea that bad things happen and then good things happen. So he had a bad beat in the first episode. He finds this kid he thinks he's going to mentor. The kid surpasses him. He gets his Comedy Cellar thing. He thinks he does a great job. It gets blown out of the water. He talks with his ex-girlfriend and things seem to be going okay. And then they have another stupid fight that he causes. Like, he was in a down place. So I kind of needed him to meet this cute girl Kat and for them to have this meet cute and all this fun, spontaneous sex.
Yeah, it was
And
like
then-
meet cute. I mean, things go a little
Yeah.
intenser. They're having sex in the bathroom
Yeah.
on a kid's changing table.
Which is funny
and
because it's
like-
so not Pete Holmes.
It isn't.
And that's why I liked it. And I like that his buddies call him. They're like, I thought you were a religious guy. Like, this doesn't seem like you. I liked that. And I also like that he gets, in that episode, a great set. Like, his set and he does the joke the guy tells him not to do, and it goes over big. Like,
Right.
I thought it was one of his funnier sets. I
him
thought it
trusting
worked
his
really
own
well.
instincts
Yeah.
instead of I love how all that's kind of playing out.
I like that roller coaster. Like, the first episode is him getting the shit beat out of him, and the second episode is things going well. I assume the third episode something bad is going to happen.
My only gripe is just that it seems a bit tropish for this show to kind of follow in this path of the crazy free spirit girl that he just happens upon who's able to reinvigorate some life in him, and she sees a sex object in him when most of us can clearly see that he's a goofy sad sack dad joke machine.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, yeah, of course that super hot girl is into you. What? Okay, sure. It just happens a lot in TV, and
Grant,
I roll my eyes.
the dad joke people, we need our hope too. Don't take it away.
I am that dad joke guy. I've abandoned all hope.
We know we've listened to the show.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and jump over to talking about High Maintenance, which is back, and I turn things over to you,
Kyle,
Kyle.
take it away.
Yeah. No, they're back for season 3. And if you're not familiar with the show, they are episodic, but each episode consists of 2 stories, an A and a B story. So we're 2 episodes into this season, which gives us 4 stories. And they start this season right where they left off last season, where we kind of followed the guy more so than we did in the first season. Something I really liked about the first season, actually, is the guy, he's just kind of in the background. Like, the story is about all these people who he visits and who he sells weed to. But
He wants more screen time, more money from HBO.
Yeah. Well, the irony behind this show is it's actually made by his wife. She's the director and creator, and she came up with the idea, or at least it was partly inspired because her husband, Ben Sinclair, couldn't get cast for anything. He's, got this real big beard and then like receding hairline, but still like kind of a good head of hair even with it. Anyways, he's just not like typical. I mean, I've seen him in some like commercials before, but
Right.
But besides that, like, what do you put him in? So, he looks like the guy who would sell you weed. So in the last season, he had a little bit of a romance, and then that fizzled out at the end. But he got an RV out of it. And then this season, we see him.
So things are looking up.
Yeah, picking up in the RV. Well, he's using it. He's going upstate, and he's spending, like getting out of the city, and I think trying to get away from the relationship from last season. But also, he meets a new girl up there, and he even says when he comes back in that second episode.
Is she like a young hot chick who's just a little bit wild and kind of like changes his perspective on life and makes him kind of see the beauty in things?
Actually, the actress, we see her. You know those new Verizon commercials with Middleditch?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's a girl in those too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What's her name?
I don't know.
Anyway, she's in season 3 of High Maintenance. She plays kind of the soon-to-be love interest. Honestly, I think that's probably the weakest part of the show. I think what's more interesting are these side stories. They do a story where the guy delivers to this young dude who's just clearly overworked, and it turns into this kind of like weird Craigslist story where he goes to like pick up a couch from somebody, and the couch has blood on it, so he's waiting for it to get clean, but he falls asleep, and he's in a junkyard, and then you realize it was just a dream, and he wakes up from it. But then that turns out to be, they did a whole like Inception thing, and he was sitting on the couch with the guy the whole time. Oh, spoiler warning for High Maintenance season 3.
We already gave one.
Yeah.
We're good.
But no, like they did this whole, but it was really interesting because it kind of shows how, people are just overworked and like stressed out, and we take everything so seriously, even just a couch. But then there was another one that dealt with loss. It was kind of interesting because it was a neighbor who lost her neighbor, just her friend, and neither of them had a ton of family, and it was kind of crappy because you saw like what's beautiful when these people who don't have family, like they meet each other and they start their own little like family groups, but then when that's broken apart and people don't usually give it the credence it deserves because they're not like a blood relative, it was just a really heartfelt episode.
I think I like the idea of how they take the concept that weed is an item that can connect all these people's lives, and they can, in a way, it's like a little bit of an advocacy for weed and the legalization and use, and how it can be great for some people. It can add drama and tension unnecessarily to other people's lives.
It's funny you say that because in the episode with the guy who had the dreams and like was having the panic attack, the guy goes to him and he goes, "I know this is bad for my business, but I don't think you need to be smoking weed right now."
Exactly.
But no, yeah, they very much so kind of approach, like even with the first season, he went from selling like bags to like having the pens and the edibles and like all the stuff you can get from the states where it's legalized, to now I think he's even this season going to a farm and getting like his stuff like grown out of New York. Which the show is kind of a hipster's delight. So, I mean, obviously they're going to be going the kombucha. Well, they've already gone the kombucha route many times. But yeah, I'm curious to see where it goes. I think they don't need to focus so much on the guy. I think the show really does work best when it's little vignettes of New York, kind of like what's Aziz Ansari's show?
Master of None?
Master of None. Yeah, it reminds me a lot of that. I think when it's at its best. And even though I do like the guy, it's not when we're following his story. Like, he's not as interesting as the people they deliver spot to.
Okay.
So you don't necessarily have high expectations.
Oh.
Where's my manic pixie girl? You hear that joke? Now they're going to flock to me. All right, let's talk about Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. Yep. It's back for its 5th and final season.
No, this is second half of season 4.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah. Which makes sense because the first they basically pick up where they left off with Kimmy working for this crazy .com company. I forget the name of the
Titus?
Not Titus.
Landlady?
No, the other one. From 30 Rock.
Oh yeah,
I'm blanking on her name. Jane, yeah. Jane.
Mm-hmm.
And her character, whose name I also forgot. Her last name is White, and that's a big gag because she's supposed to be Native American. Anyway, she's like a Hollywood agent now. And then Titus is trying to get either get Mikey back, his boyfriend, and also make it as an actor. And it's following all those storylines through. And here's the thing: I thought these were solid and clever enough, but there was nothing here where I was like, this was the thing from the Star Trek Discovery Pod where they're talking about like not emotionally connecting to the characters. I don't care what happens to any of these characters anymore. Even Kimmy, who I love, like I just like. I don't care. I didn't need to see a rap. You know, like when they rapped, say, The Office, or they rapped even 30 Rock, which is a pretty ridiculous show, there was some emotional resonance, like seeing...
they knew how to pull back and get right back to the core, the heart of the characters when they needed to, and that was kind of lost.
Because Kimmy's been so weird, like, Titus succeeding in Hollywood seems crazy. It seems like it would never happen. having Kimmy become a successful author or like getting her book, like I didn't care about her book. I didn't care that she'd achieved that dream. And I definitely don't care about Jacqueline White. I definitely don't care about Jacqueline and the weird blind agent that Zachary Quinto plays at the end for some reason.
God.
Like there was some real weirdness in this last one. And
yeah, they steer into the absurdity.
they did the weird sliding doors episode, which I think was the best episode of this batch, where they show like an alternate universe where she doesn't get kidnapped and she becomes this sort of rich bitch, and Titus has a run-in with her for different reasons. Like that, I think was the best episode, but even that wasn't great. I feel like this was a lackluster finale. Like it was okay, but the best part of season of Kimmy Schmidt now is the theme song, which is so damn catchy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of disappointing.
Yeah, I didn't hate it. I just feel like it was not great.
I mean, I kind of felt that way too. Like I just couldn't get back into watching it.
It was just there.
And I would just kind of put an episode on and just stare blankly at it and go, do you want the next episode? And I'm like, do I?
Although
I don't know.
It is weird to me. I think Cats got referenced in Crazy Ex-Girlfriend recently, and it's referenced here. And it seems like everybody hates Cats.
The
and
musical?
Wants to make fun of how terrible it is and how there's no story.
Because we all grew up with our dad listening to it on repeat in the car.
The whole notion, that is one of the better things too, the whole notion that Cats is basically just come in makeup and jump on the show, and that's how you get into Cats. And then bringing Greg Kinnear in, that is one thing that Kimmy Schmidt's done really well, is used its star power. Like Tina Fey's got some pull. She can get people in.
Right.
And having Greg Kinnear basically play himself as this sort of wackadoo who just wants to be on Broadway and who's willing to dress up as Greg Catnear and get up on the stage. Like that's a funny bit. It's just that it's all funny bits and the stories don't really hold together. I don't care about the stories.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I'm just killing time till we can talk about The Good Place anyway. So
Maybe she wasn't unbreakable. Maybe she broke.
Maybe she broke.
There we go.
Kyle, do you need to leave the room so we don't spoil you on season 3 finale of Good Place?
It's so funny. Just a moment ago, I was like, well, let's talk about the episode. And I'm like, no, because I can't talk about any of the episodes that I've seen without imagining what you guys have already seen. So, yeah, I'm going to go in the other room.
All right, yeah, because we definitely do not want to ruin season 3 for you.
Yeah, I watched Chidi Sees the Time Blade.
Yep.
Oh, so you're one episode away.
I'm one episode away.
Yeah.
So close. But
I
yeah,
know.
so we don't want to spoil it for you, and we don't want to spoil it for our listeners. If you have not watched the third episode or the final episode of season 3 of Good Place, skip ahead to our music, and our questions, or skip till next week. But do not listen until you've seen the episode.
I love spoilers, and I'm getting out of here.
Well, before we do that, then before you leave, tell us what have your thoughts been about season 3 up until then? Because you're at the penultimate.
Yeah.
So they took a break, right?
Yeah.
But not like a mid-season finale.
It sort of was. They got to the Good Place and they took a break.
Yeah. So they get to the Good Place. We've only had like 3 or 4 episodes, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of building off what we've seen all season, which has been, where's the show going? What are we going to do? And I think this season, even more so in the past, like every episode, really, they're having to like kind of reinvent it.
Yeah.
And the reveal in the penultimate, so spoilers if you haven't seen them for that they're building like this other good place and they're going to do an experiment. I'm like, oh, this seems like a natural place for it to go. And then that cliffhanger where you're like, oh, can't do it. Sorry.
Yeah.
And it's funny because halfway through that episode, I even looked to my lady and I said, I bet you none of this is going to happen. I bet you it's going to completely flip. Like they're going to set this whole thing up and then like something's going to happen. They're going to have to redo the whole plan.
Yep.
So
it's I was just thinking the beginning of season 3 was kind of slow. They're all back on Earth and we have the team together, but the stakes are already too big. There's this larger mythology that's hiding in the background, and now we have these kind of mundane plots that are going on, and I'm like, just kind of like twitching, like, okay, but now we know there's all these questions about the afterlife and what's going on with them being chased by these demons in the background. Like, what is all that? And I'm not sure I can just fully get on board with the fact that Jason is having his little Bortles parties, and and Tahani's struggling with how to manage her cocktail party when other shit, like, they need to know who each other is already. I need to hit the floor running with them. They need to get their memories back.
Yeah.
Before I jump off, can I give two of my favorite highlights from this season?
Yeah.
I loved the date in the post office with Chidi and Eleanor.
That was really great.
I loved like just where it was like, it's not going to slow down. It's going to keep being crazy. So let's just take this moment for ourselves here.
Yeah.
Thought that was very sweet.
And really paid off a lot of development of that relationship.
Yep. And gosh, this show does smart stuff all the time. But the episode where he pretty much Ted Danson pretty much petitions to the good place, and they're like, oh no, it's going to be 1,000 years. Like how they talked about immigration and how they talked about bureaucracy and politics, but in their own way, without like offending anyone. I just thought it was just brilliant tiptoeing.
Yeah, the cosmic DNC.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna let you guys get on it. This is gonna be good.
All right. So, Randy, can you believe they all died again?
That was crazy, yeah.
Okay, just kidding. Okay, so let's talk about that last episode because, I didn't know where they were going to go with it, and man,
yeah. So
that.
the first season finale was amazing because it had the big reveal that they were in the bad place.
Right.
The second season finale had the big reveal that we're going to start over on Earth.
Right.
There's not a huge status quo change. They set that up in the previous episode.
No, this is all an emotional,
but it's an emotional
cliffhanger.
It was a gut punch. I did not see it coming. And you know what I love? It goes back to the stuff you're talking about. You're saying that the Earth stuff maybe was a little slow, but it was all there for a reason, to set up Simone, to set up that he had this other relationship.
Right.
And then,
it totally makes sense
and
in the
then
end.
to sock it to him with that. And then they talk about this on the Good Place podcast, that Chidi has sort of evolved. Like when he and Eleanor had the date in the mail room, and he basically was like the guy to say, look, let's just not worry. And I know it's crazy for me to say that. Let's just date. And ever since then, Chidi has been a little more comfortable, a little more confident, except when he sees the time knife, which that'd fuck with anybody. That's weird. But the notion that Chidi basically comes up to him and he's like, yeah, I'm going to screw this up. We have to erase my memories and my relationship with Eleanor, and it sucks, but we have to do it. And he's right. And there's this whole thing where like they try to work around it, and we're so used to seeing them work around it that we're expecting them to do it.
And then they do that, pull on the emotionally manipulative clip show that they show at the end. I'm like, you assholes,
it's so good,
making me all sad.
I was already in it. Like when they did the reveal, they were gonna have to do it. I was like, oh man, they just got together.
This is a comedy. Did you cry?
Of course I cried.
What the fuck?
Yeah,
seriously,
it was sad.
Oh man, see, like. No, of course I didn't cry.
No, you're a robot.
No, yeah. But when you're talking about on Kimmy Schmidt, though, there's just no emotional resonance. Yeah. And here, they make it pay off in every single episode. Yeah. You are so invested in all of these characters and their relationships with one another. Jason, probably the least of them.
I love Jason now.
I love him,
Jason.
but man, like him trying to like play adult about things. I'm just like, I don't buy it. Like, so, whatever.
I love Eleanor becoming the architect, having to play the architect, and they're going to stick.
It feels
with
like
that.
a great fit.
Yeah, that's so good. I love. There's so many great lines in this one. The thing where she talks about how she's been improved, but she's still a world class liar. Mm-hmm. Chidi's like casual. Oh, that's what I like to hear from your girlfriend. Like, there's a lot of great stuff like that. I love how quickly they casually started calling each other boyfriend and girlfriend.
Right.
And they earned this relationship, and they brought them together. Only knowing that in a couple episodes they were going to fuck us all with this.
She already had a complete leg up on him.
Yeah.
In so much as Janet has a plot device that will allow her to have Chidi have all the memories refilled back into him.
Right.
Like she can download that right into his brain, Johnny Mnemonic, Matrix style, whatever.
Right. Yeah.
So, I mean, while the stakes are, it's sad that we're losing that. Yeah. It isn't necessarily forever. And as you recall, they rebooted over 800 times or whatever, and they kept finding each other and falling in love. So the draw is there. And if we buy into this star-crossed, like, destiny, whatever, it's gonna happen again.
Well, and they reference it. That's the great thing. It's like they know this, and they know that we know. So having Chidi say "Jeremy, bear me, baby," which was a great line,
so good.
That basically he's like, we've found each other hundreds of times before. We'll do it again. Like that is, It's such a romantic thing, but there's no guarantees. They're both terrified because you don't know. They've had 800 reboots. They weren't together in every reboot. So they don't know that they'll find each other. And the cruelty of it is that Eleanor knows and she can't let on.
So she just has to suffer.
She still has those, and she still has to suffer. And the genius of this is that then she sits down with Janet, the only person, not a person, in the world who could understand because she's in the same spot with Jason. And
that was so great.
That was such a good thing. Seeing Janet becoming a little more human, seeing her talk to Eleanor about, why there's pain and why this is worth it and all this kind of stuff, and her dead-on Jason impression.
For a show that continually one-ups and shocks us with big plot change-ups. The fact that the big change-up here was almost just more of a character, like an emotional moment.
Yeah.
And that's the big shift they're going to do is they're going to take away something that we, the audience, they're pretty confident have grown to love. That's pretty impressive.
You know what else is interesting about this? When we were introduced to Chidi and to Eleanor, they were introduced as soulmates. And then we learned that was bullshit. And now we're seeing maybe they're soulmates.
Right.
And so what does that mean for the cosmic design? Is it possible that Michael's working for the cosmic design in a way and doesn't even know he is?
Oh, shit. See, that would be interesting if we find out that all of this is in some way destiny.
Yeah.
And that Michael was fated to do this and take this path to be the savior of humanity in some way.
The other thing I like about this, I love having Simone back because I loved that character.
Right.
And I'm glad to get her back. Tahani's crazy gossip columnist guy. I think that's going to be a fun thing to play around with.
That guy is pretty good.
It does also let Sean do the thing of he's I believe in that game chess they say suck butt you dinks or whatever it is. That was a great fun. Mark Evan Jackson seems to have a ton of fun playing evil in this. But we still have 2 big reveals to come for the next season. I mean, I'm sure there'll be plenty of them, but who do they get to mess with Eleanor and who do they get to mess with Jason? And I'm thinking Pillboy?
Ooh, please. Please have Pillboy in there. Because I love that actor.
Yeah, me too.
But what about with Chidi? Is Chidi now one of the 4 new people?
I don't think so.
Is he just a 5th?
I think he's just a 5th person. Yeah.
Okay.
Which changes the experiment.
Yeah, because I'm like, okay, we have 2. We have the gossip colonist and we have, what's her name? Simone. So, yeah, Pillboy.
Pillboy would be amazing. And for Eleanor, there's all kinds of people you can introduce. Some new character who she had a relationship with.
Or it's Chidi.
Or it's Chidi.
If they just say, okay, now Chidi's the one that's torturing you because he doesn't even know you and you have all this history with him and you want to do the shorthand to make him good or whatever, saved. I don't know.
Yeah.
Man.
It's so good. I am disappointed that we're done until November when we get more. Or September or whatever.
Why do we have to wait so fucking long?
I know, but I would prefer to have seasons this short that are this good than to have a filler episode that's not.
I don't know. For some reason now I'm just like, Kristen Bell, you and your contract negotiations, making sure that you have short seasons, you rascal.
No, I'm all about the short seasons. I like short seasons even on comedy. So although it hurts not to have more Good Place for a while, I got you, dog.
Got you, dog. Yeah, guys, we are back, and I want to say before we get into our listener questions that you guys can help support us. Once again, that's patreon.com/tvdudes. We pimp this every single time, so you guys should be familiar with it. And I did want to say that we also printed stickers. So if you guys want to get some cool circular stickers, I think they're about 3 inches by 3 inches circle.
Just send us your social security number, and we will mail them off to you.
Yeah, and a credit card number.
Yeah, at least the credit card number to Patreon so that you're becoming a patron.
That's actually true.
And yeah, give us your address and then pass on some.
We just want your identity.
See, the trick is that we get people to financially support us, and then we send stickers so that they can also market us.
Yeah.
So it's just working out in our favor. I'm just pulling down the curtain. Why did I do that? Damn it, Grant.
I don't know.
Haha, ignore that. Delete it.
We'll just admit that we're recording 2 episodes at a time now.
I've been looking at these stickers the whole time we've been recording, and it reminds me of like when people try to censor nude photographs and they put like something funny in front of the nipples. Like, these stickers would be perfect for that.
Oh, yeah.
Censoring nude photographs.
These are pasties.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah,
Pasties
patrons, sign up and you will get a nude photo of the TV dudes with TV dude stickers covering our bits.
Oh, man.
Or sign up or you will get that. We're going to send out all of you on the internet.
It's one way or the other. If you want it, you don't get it. If you don't, you're getting
That's
a
right.
picture of naked Burt Reynolds with a TV dude sticker over the crotch.
Man, we gotta step up our advertising game. All right, let's get into some listener questions. Once a week, Randy puts up a post, or once every other week now is the new saying. And you guys can come and ask us questions on whatever you want. And I believe this week we have a couple of them that are comedy related. So let's jump into that. Our first one comes to us from Jonathan Halftimichael, who says, "Hi, dudes. Is Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt the first legacy Netflix series to finish its story without cancellation orders or scandal?" He says, except for Tina Fey not handling race-related criticism, scandal-wise, and with the majority of its popularity intact. It's been almost 6 years since House of Cards first started Netflix's reign of terror on streaming content, and I can't think of another show to stick the landing like Kimmy Schmidt.
I think he's right that nobody else is like wrapped. So like all the other shows are still going or only one season shows. I think we already talked about how we didn't really think they stuck the landing.
I mean, yeah, I can't say that like it has as much popularity, but I thought Love did a fantastic job of sticking the landing, and I was on board for all 3 seasons of that one.
I would have liked more of that one actually. Whereas Kimmy Schmidt, I felt like I was done.
Wait, did Love get canceled? Maybe
no. It got to end on its own terms, and it was great.
Yeah.
Orange is the New Black is pretty close. I think they said they only have one more season.
Yeah, and they haven't really. I mean, I know some people had some problems with the Prison Riot season. I've actually liked all of it. I'm looking forward to the finale. But yeah, Kimmy Schmidt. It is worth noting that it did end. There was no big they didn't have to recast Kimmy or anything crazy like that. So yeah, maybe it is sort of a milestone of sorts.
Yeah, I wanted to actually try and pull up a list of what are all the Netflix original series that they've done.
But there are a billion of them.
Eli Roth did that werewolf one.
Oh yeah, what was that one called?
Yeah, I think that might have been the second one they did.
Honor Lodge. I don't remember.
Terror Creek Honor Lodge. Yeah. Hemlock Grove.
Hemlock Grove. See, that was in there. Michael Gustini does note that a series of unfortunate events beat it by a month, and I heard that did have a great final season.
Yeah, running through this, Stranger Things, The Crown, those haven't. Yeah, none of these have ended. Ozark's still going. Altered Carbon, presumably.
Oh, the second season of that.
The Netflix Avengers.
Yeah, the Marvel stuff definitely did not end on a great note. We haven't seen how Fuller House ends yet, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be great.
Yeah, but that was
Narcos Mexico is still pretty strong too. So
I've never gotten around to Narcos Mexico, but I've heard good things.
Man, it is. I hate it because there's so many subtitles, which I love, but you have to watch it. You can't do anything else while you're watching.
You can't half watch it. Yeah, that's.
But it's totally worth it. It's my airplane show.
Okay.
When you're trapped, it's perfect. Yeah.
All right, we have one more question here. This is from Daniel Uvaldo, who says, "Okay, dudes, pick your favorite sitcom and then pick out your favorite running joke, just like the robots in Kimmy Schmidt." Man, favorite sitcom.
I have actually 2 running jokes I want to mention, but I will pick my favorite sitcom first.
Okay,
and that is Cheers. And the running gag with Gary's Old Town Tavern. Every time the Gary's Old Town Tavern stuff showed up, it was always great.
I don't know what that is.
With this?
No.
You never watched Cheers?
I did.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But not that much.
There was a rival bar that was better than them at everything they did. Like, the guy who ran it was this sort of sleazy guy, but he was also he graduated from Harvard summa cum laude or magna cum laude or something like that, and so he could match with Diane. He was as jockey as Sam, and he actually knew how to run his bar like a business. He did all these big crazy promotions, and they would have these prank war kind of things where, like, there was one where they decided to play basketball against each other, and he brought in a couple of ringers by hiring some NBA players at his place. And there's just basically, like, every year there'd be something where they would have a prank war with Gary. And it was always great, always funny, and it kept escalating. And the final one involving Harry Anderson and them tricking him into bulldozing his own bar is phenomenal TV. It's so funny. Like, that's my favorite running joke.
My favorite sitcom is, if you can call it a sitcom, The IT Crowd. And obviously the every episode starts with the running joke, but have you tried turning it off and on again? One of my favorites is there was a few times where they had really good closes to an episode where, like, just everything's kind of crazy, and then, like, the aristocrats joke, it just ends with him going, "Have you tried turning it off and on again?"
Yeah.
But he did create a rotary voicemail machine at one point where it's like every time somebody calls, it, like, clicks on "hi," clicks off, and it's like and it's like, "Have you tried turning it off and on again?" Clicks off, and they're like, and it's like, "No, don't mention it." Clicks off again.
I'm gonna go with The Office and every prank that Jim does on Dwight.
Oh, man.
Oh.
From the very first one of the stapler and Jell-O to dressing up a dog as Dwight, or getting his best friend Randall Park to pretend to be him and switching out the photos, clicking in Braille on the pens.
The elaborate one where he convinces himself he's being recruited by the CIA and has to be on the roof for a helicopter.
Oh, yeah.
That is like him and Pam messing with him. That was so good.
The fax is sent from the future.
Yes. Oh, man.
Or he wrote an entire book on like the proper wedding etiquette for like a party. The fact that Jim went and wrote a book and published it just to sell one copy to Dwight is they were just all really like overly elaborate and hilarious to me.
Yeah.
Didn't he show up dressed like Dwight once?
He did. Yep.
Yeah.
Bears beats Battlestar Galactica. Love that show. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and call it an episode.
It is an episode.
We're done.
Yeah.
We did it.
Yeah.
We are going to be back next week talking about a couple of... What were some of those shows?
A bunch of stuff. We're going to talk about Grand Tour. We're going to catch up on The Magicians.
Oh, yeah.
There's we want to talk about sexcapades, sex education.
Just sex.
Just sex. We're talking about sex education over on Netflix. We got a few other things in the hopper. So we'll be talking about a bunch of different stuff.
Hopper? We going to talk about Stranger Things?
No.
Oh, man. I can't wait. Can't wait till this summer.
These things get strange.
All right, folks. We are done. We're going to be out. We want to thank you guys all for listening. But until next week,
TV Dudes out.
we out. The TV Dudes is an independently run podcast and a member of the Electric Sweater Podcast Network. We are exclusively listener supported. If you'd like to help us out, go to patreon.com/tvdudes. You can like us on Facebook and Twitter at TV Dudes. All the music for our show is by our friend and original TV dude, Gregory J. Amani Smith. To find out more about us, go to thetvdudes.com and electricsweater.com. I'm Grant Davis. Thanks for listening.